everyone. Welcome to BCANCC Decompress, presented by Black Canadian content creators and the Chonilla Network. It is Friday, the end of the month, and every single last Friday of the month, I have conversation with amazing Black Canadian content creators who identify, I can't say the word today, Black, identify as Black, African Canadian, Caribbean, or mixed content creators who live in Canada, or expat Canadians who create outside of the country. Today, I have two amazing guests. This is a first, and I'm super excited. Been wanting to talk to them for quite a while. The first guest is Samantha Kemp-Jackson. She is a Toronto-based writer, podcaster, media commentator, and mother of four, who focuses on the intersections between parenting, technology, and culture. As mentioned, writer, commentator on topics ranging from parenting, lifestyle to technology, business to business. Solid experience of 15 years plus in writing and communication industry. She's a communication professional and part-time teacher, and a successful blogger and content creator since 2011 at multiplemayhemmama.com. Our second guest is Casey Palmer. He's a husband, father, storyteller, blogger at caseypalmer.com. He's creating a life that's as awesome as possible through his blog and sharing his thoughts, his experience, his family, his love, and amazing things on this blog. Casey always sought to create content that speaks to others' soul, not just simply retelling events, but as a blogger, his unique style has caught the eye of brands like TELUS, Netflix, and Apple. His work has seen him published. You could see his work published in Huffington Post, Metro Toronto, the Globe and Mail. You've heard him on CBC's Metro Morning, and you've seen him on CTV's Your Morning and Global TV's The Morning Show. Welcome, both of you, to BCANCC Decompress.
Woo!
Thanks for having us. Thanks. Nice to be here.
Oh, nice to have you both. How are you? It's the end of October. Tomorrow's Halloween. Let's just dive into this. How are you going to do Halloween this year? Because I have no idea what to do. I know one thing, though. We're not trick-or-treating.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Well, where we are here, where I am in Toronto, the directive is not to trick or treat. But I wouldn't have trick or treated anyway, just because I think that it might be risky. Now, I just want to say, no judgment. I'm not judging any parents who are deciding to let their kids trick or treat, because I always say that it's important for parents to make the right decisions for themselves and their kids and their families. So if you all feel like it's good for you, then that's great. For me, I have health issues that make me more susceptible to getting sick if I do get COVID, and same with my husband. So, and then my boys, their hands are in everything and they don't always keep their masks on. They're 11-year-old twins. So, yeah, for all of those reasons, we're not going out. But what we're going to do is we're just going to do like a treat hunt. All they're all about is the treats anyway. They don't care. So they just want to get treats. So I said, we'll get the same amount of treats. I'll hide them in the house like we do at Easter. They're going to find them. We're going to eat pizza. We're going to have popcorn. We're going to watch a couple of scary movies and call it a day. And they're fine with that. So, everybody's got to do what they got to do.
Any movie in particular that you're thinking of watching?
Well, actually, this is strange, but I got my boys into the old Twilight Zones. They really like the old, like the original, like 1960s Twilight Zone with Rod Serling. So we're gonna. Yeah. I know, it's kind of weird, but anyway, we're gonna watch a few of those. I love those, and I have them all downloaded. So we're gonna watch those. We might watch some more contemporary movies, but that's our jam for tomorrow.
What about you, Kate? Yeah, that is a good plan, actually. Just staying inside, not be out there in the cold, not having Rona come get you, playing tricks on you. What about you, Casey?
You know what? I think my kids are almost 7 and 5 now, and I think they've gotten used to the idea that Halloween doesn't have to be all about the trick-or-treating. Last year in Toronto, Halloween was washed out by a massive rainstorm, and they just stayed inside and ate candy and watched TV until they got sleepy, and it was the best night ever for them because they basically got to do whatever they wanted. So even this year, over the course of the summer, we've had a little bubble in our neighborhood of just basically 3 families, and one of them, the dad, is in lighting and sound for major concerts and conferences around the world. So he set up a haunted house in his basement. So literally, you have these 6 kids between 3 families who are going to go in this basement and look around and stuff like that. And then they'll get their candy. They'll have a treasure hunt in the house itself. And that's it. We're keeping it really simple. We're keeping it very close to home, and they're okay with it. I think they kids can be resilient. They've learned a lot over the course of these last 7 months or whatever, and they're just okay, this is what Halloween looks like this year. We still get candy, right? Like Sam was saying, we still get candy, so they're winning in the end. It's good.
yeah we're much more of a Halloween family than a Christmas family. We go all out a lot more during Halloween. We're all about scaring people and scaring each other, scaring the neighbors, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, this year we're definitely staying in. We did have one idea because we live in a crescent, and we thought, what if we put a huge target at the end of the crescent and we just throw the candies at people? For every candy, we wipe it and then just throw it, and then the kids can catch it if there's any that's going to come out. But no, we're not doing that. We're the same, staying inside.
Yeah.
I'll get the big boxes of candy at Walmart or something, and we'll watch maybe that latest Adam Sandler movie on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was really inspired by both of you because, Samantha, you wrote an article on, should parents be honest about their COVID fears? I'm still living with the fear because my kids are going to school. Both of you, your kids are home, right? No?
Mine are at school right now. I don't know if I could do this if my kids were here.
Yeah.
Sam's are way better behaved than mine are. Mine are they're chaos.
Well, I actually,
they're not behaving. They're just distracted with other things.
That also works. You got to know what tools work.
Yeah. So how old are your kids again, Sam?
My twins are 11. The boys are 11.
Okay.
And then my 16-year-old, I have a 16-year-old daughter. Yeah.
How are you managing?
So the twins, they're supposed to be streaming right now, but I kicked them off. I'm not. I'm not managing. I don't know how parents, really try, something's got to give, and you can't be all things to all people. And so quite frankly, the homework and the overseeing of schoolwork has gone a little bit by the wayside. My work, which is writing, teaching, media stuff, that's gone a little bit by the wayside. I'm doing everything kind of at half throttle or 3/4 throttle because you can't, being at home all day, before I came on here, my kids are yelling, I'm hungry. Can I have some lunch? I'm thinking, oh God, I got to make them lunch. Right. And then my husband, cause he's here too. He's sitting at the dining table working and he's like, I've got a call. I can't do it. So it's up to me. Right. So yeah, it's hard to do everything. And I think that it's just, everybody's just got to chill and realize that these are not normal times. These are extraordinary times and we have to go with the flow. And one day we'll get back to normal, but it's not going to be normal in every instance, whether it's work-wise, school-wise, home, relationships, everything. It's just, we just have to adapt to our new reality. So I'm not managing. That's my short answer.
You're not managing. I feel better if Samantha's not managing. I'm okay.
I don't think anybody's managing. The people who are saying they're managing, they're lying.
That's real. What about you, Casey?
Casey might be managing. Casey's pretty organized. I get the feeling that he's got it all together.
You do seem super organized, though, Casey.
He does, right?
You fake if you're faking it, you got to give me the fake tips on how to seem organized.
I'm super chill. Okay, so I realize
you
that
things
are. Like my level of perfection is just like so low where I'm like, listen, like we make it through today? All right, we're good. That's it. Like everything around me right now, like I was literally doing a unboxing video before, jumping on. So my office is chaos. My basement is chaos. The kids' rooms are chaos. Like between the playroom and their bedroom, everything's chaos right now. I have like all these deadlines that I've just kind of like, it's not like they're not optional, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, so it's really managing by one day at a time and really being realistic about mental bandwidth, because it's in these times it's super easy to burn out, super easy. And you have to be constantly aware of where you're at mentally and making sure that you're not doing anything that's going to endanger you, because I know we've said it for years in that, there's only one of you and you can't replace that. But now it's so much more, it hits home a lot harder right now than it would have before. And people and, our dependents and the people around us that we care about need us so much more than they would have before. So we have to be super careful about just, how we use our time each day and making sure we don't end up in a situation where we can't perform to the level we need to get through it all. So I do it by lowering my expectations for everything. Or the mantra we have in our house when it comes to dealing with anything with our kids is lower your expectations and then lower them some more. And it works really well.
I like that, Casey.
Can you give me an example of that? Like that is actually pretty good. Like give me an example of that, and how do you convey that to like younger kids? Because your kids are younger.
Okay. So you get the matching toys, completely identical. And you figure they each have a toy, so they're both going to sit around, play with their toy. It's going to be good. No. Because what's going to happen is one of them is going to break their toy. It's going to turn into a complete battle between them, and it's going to just, ruin the flow of the entire day. So the lowered expectations is like, okay, you know what? They're going to be so appreciative. They're not going to appreciate it. So lower those expectations. They're going to be like, okay, we have toys. Good. And then you have to lower some more because it's like, oh, and that's only going to be a Band-Aid solution, because within 5 minutes, it's going to be chaos again. Yeah.
Are you finding you're lowering your expectation too, Sam?
Well, mine were always low because I've never been good at this parenting thing, despite popular belief. And, my parenting philosophy is basically, you got to let a lot of things slide. A lot of things slide. Like, things are not perfect. They never are. They never were. But especially now, I think we have to really be kind to ourselves and just realize that, these are extraordinary times. Things are not going to go the way that we want them to or plan to. None of us have lived through a pandemic. And we're learning as we go. So, my philosophy at this point, as I mentioned previously, is, if their homework's not perfect, they didn't get every single thing done, the house is kind of a mess, what they ate ramen for lunch yet again, because I'm a bad parent and didn't cook them a proper meal. Well, you know what? They're not going to die. They're alive. Right. So as I said, I have 4 kids. My oldest is an adult. Right. My last 3 are still, here. And you know what? Once you've done it once, you realize, what? The bar is low. All you really need to do is make sure that they're alive and they're fed and they got a roof over their head, and everything else is like gravy on top. So you know what? Let things go. And all joking aside, I think kids are really resilient. And if it's like what you were saying, Casey, if they miss this Halloween, they didn't trick or treat, they'll be okay for next year. At the end of the day, they just want candy. And, more specifically in terms of parenting, they just want to know that their parents are there. They're loving, they're safe, they got a roof over their head, they got meals. I mean, really, that's really all you need. So that's my advice, is just keep the bar low and reach for that very low bar and you'll be okay.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't even limbo under my bar over here.
You can't limbo. Mine either, Casey.
So how do you that's one thing I'm learning as well, is not to be so hard on myself in terms of parenting, lowering the bar. I try to. and mainly not being hard on myself, because like you said, we're all figuring out how to live with something we never had to live before, right? So we're figuring all out on how to live happily and with health in a pandemic. And do you get moments of like, now that the numbers are going up, do you feel that the fear that you had when it first came has it come back for you, or it's much more manageable, or not, it has not come back at all? Because you wrote, like, I thought that was very interesting, like the sense of fear and that the guilt is real. And do you still feel that guilt? Has it come back a little bit or not at all with this whole second wave?
I wonder who you're asking.
me?
To you, Samantha.
I think definitely. To me? Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel guilt. I think that is part and parcel with parenting generally. I mean, all of us who have kids, we always feel like we're not good enough, we're not doing it right, we're making mistakes, we're doing all kinds of things that are not good for our kids. And even though logically and intellectually we know that that's just not true and that we're doing the best that we can and our kids are mostly fine, there is that level of guilt that we feel that we could do better. So yeah, I am feeling that. I'm still trying to temper that with, being intellectually logical about it and realizing, okay, no, that's just an emotional response. That's not real life. My kids are fine. They're taken care of and everything. But I think it's normal. And I think, as I mentioned previously, I think it's just really important for us to all be kind to ourselves and realize that we've never lived through this before. We're learning as we go. Our kids will be okay. The kids are all right. It's fine. And, if we all do what we're supposed to do, this will be over sooner than later. Don't get me started with anti-maskers, because I know, I'm sorry, I had to say, okay, I'm sorry, but you know what? We're in this longer than we need to be because people will not wear masks. Anyway, that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, good, Casey. I knew that you'd wear a mask. I know you.
I was thinking of wearing a mask too. Casey, you did the test, right? Like you went through the process of you and your family. What was that like? What was the whole process? How long did it take, and how does it feel? Because I've heard with some people it hurts a little.
I mean, we did it in the pretty early days of school. So back before Toronto got its. Okay, hold on. Before Toronto got his act together. We're not there yet. But yeah, before we had more appointment times and everything, it was waiting in line over at Michael Garron Hospital, Toronto East General. And doors opened at 8:30. I got there around like 7:40. And it was still like a good 2 and a bit hour wait from there to like get in to actually get the test itself. Fortunately, the kids had their devices, they were fine and they could hang out. And it was still decent weather at the time. But then you get in, you answer a few questions, and basically it's a swab that probably goes up to like here-ish in your nasal cavity, like right here by the bridge of your nose. Mm-hmm. And so you feel it in there, like you feel it in, like, as my friends say, you feel it in your soul. Like it just goes right up in there, and it's not bad. It's like it's just for a moment. It's for a moment, and it's highly uncomfortable. The kids had 2 very different reactions. The younger one is just kind of like, man, like it happened, and it sucked for a second, but it's good. And the older one was just like, he felt violated. Like, why would you do that to me? Why would you make me go through that? And we're like, don't get sick, boys. Don't get sick, and you will have to do it again.
That's why you have to wear a mask.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it, right? It's like this is good incentive for them to like stay healthy, stay washing their hands, wear their masks properly. And I call them on things. Then it's better now. They're really good at it. Like, yeah, I'll catch the 4-year-old with the mask below his nose sometimes, and I'm like, pull it up, pull it up, let's go. But they've learned a lot over the course of this, of like the etiquette and the steps needed to keep themselves safe and their friends safe, the people they care about. We tell them all the time that these are things so that the people you like playing with today will still be healthy enough to play outside with you tomorrow. So yeah,
that's true. What's been the routine coming home? Like, do you have a specific routine when they get home? Since they're out there.
Take that stuff off, wash your hands immediately, and then unpack your bags so that we can get everything in the dishwasher. Basically, like it's a same thing every day, where it's like if they, and they're kids, they get distracted really easily, but a lot of it is more, we remind them that we're all, like Sam said it very well earlier, that we're all going through this for the first time. We haven't been through a pandemic in, pretty much everyone in humanity's lifetimes right now. And we tell them all the time, like, we're doing the same things that you guys are. So when we get in the house, we're washing our hands, we're putting our stuff, whether it's something that needs to go in the laundry because we're in a very public place, whether it's making sure that, we're not trailing anything inside that we shouldn't be. We try to be very on top of it with them so that they are consistently aware that there's an inside and there's an outside. Inside, we can relatively control what's going on here, keep things clean, etc. We have no control over outside, so you have to keep a clear separation between the two of them just to make sure that you stay safe. And they figure that out. They're smart kids. They don't act like it all the time, but they're smart kids.
Yeah. I consider my kids like mini heroes in a way, because like you said, like both of you said, kids are resilient. I'm glad I don't go to school because wearing a mask all day, ooh, is a thing. And I tried it. I think last week, I think I was running a whole lot more errands than usual. The maximum I'll wear a mask is 2 hours, and then I come right home. I've been pretty, just be home. But that day I was just running around for myself and my family and things like that. And I had it on for a good 4 or 5 hours. And I thought, oh my gosh, my kids have to deal with this every day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. Have you run into anti-maskers during this whole pandemic journey while running errands, or some family members or friends who've been a bit of an anti-masker?
Not in person, online definitely.
Yeah. What about you, Sam?
Well, not in my group of friends or family, because I just will not tolerate it, because I really am susceptible. So it just, people around me know, it's like, if you're anti-mask or you think the coronavirus is a hoax, then we cannot be friends. Right. But out and about wherever, yes, they're everywhere. My husband calls them nosers, the people who wear their mask right here.
Yes.
Right. And he says, oh yeah, there's some more nosers in the grocery store today. Right. And actually, it's a whole other question. Like, are you going to go up to people and say, like, he said to one woman, he says, the mask doesn't work if it's under your nose. And she just looked at him like a deer in the headlights and didn't do anything. But yeah, I run into them out there. I try to keep a wide berth from them. I don't want to get into a fight with anybody, but there are certain times. I mean, I was at Costco a couple weeks ago, and there were a lot of people in there with masks, with their masks down, like up to their, and I was just so irritated. I had to stop myself from going up to them and saying, what do you think you're doing? Do you think you're smart?
Yeah.
Do you think you're fooling people by covering your mouth but not your nose? Or do you think you're special because you're not wearing, and do you not realize, because there are studies that have been done that show that you are more susceptible and likely to actually get coronavirus through your nose than through your mouth. And apparently it's because the membranes in the back of that's why they do that test all the way up to the back, because the virus apparently attaches itself easier to those membranes and cilia there than they do. It's harder to get it through your mouth. So ironically, the people who are like wearing it over their mouth and not their nose are probably more likely to get sick. But anyway, I digress. Right. It bothers me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, the same for me. I did witness a gentleman going into a sports store, and that's another thing too that really bothers me, is to see grown adults going in without a mask in spaces that they know it's predominantly young adults, like teenagers or early 20-year-olds that work in these environments. And they take advantage of that because they're grown to kind of be a little aggressive, or like, what are you going to do? Young lady or young man or young whoever. And and you see them do that. And I'm like, like, there was a gentleman who walked in, and this young woman, she looked like she was 20 something years old, and she said, you need to wear a mask. And he's like, no, I don't have to. And I just couldn't help it. I was like, really? That's what I said to him. Really? This is what you're gonna do? And he's just like, huh, what? He was thrown off because you could tell he just takes advantage of going to spaces where there's young kids that work, and they're not going to say anything. It's annoying, but I don't see it too much. I've heard Montreal is worse, though. A lot of people weren't wearing a mask in Montreal.
Wow. I mean,
Yes.
I don't see, for me, it's always been like a fashion accessory, right? I'd say always. It's been 7 months, but I always like accessorizing anyway. So the fact that I can like, wear different masks to go with different outfits and like, they all complement each other. I'm like, no, man, it's like, this is a new scarf or shawl. Like, I'm just put it on and like, it's all working out really well. I'm like, this is good. It works out. So I don't mind it.
What has been for both of you, starting with you, Samantha, what has the pandemic been? What kind of lesson have you had or discovered or found with this whole during the pandemic? Like, what are some positive things that you found, just during this moment of pause?
That's a great question. I would say that, you realize that all of the things that you think you need, you don't really. And, I would also say that, as I said before, kids are resilient and they don't need everything we thought that they needed. You don't have to go shopping all the time. You don't have to buy all the stuff that you thought you needed to. You don't need to be out all the time. And that first little while where we had to stay in was actually good because we needed to, it forced us to regroup with the family. So I think that's been good. I think the family time, the connection, the realization that things are not, we don't need most of the things that we thought. I think that's been a good lesson.
What about you, Casey?
I say a lot of the same on the family level. Additionally, on the personal level, so when everything happened with George Floyd back in the end of May, I think it made me realize that we need to be super, super honest with ourselves about where we are in our journeys, how we interact with our families, what we want for our families, and how that's different for everybody. And it got me to be a lot more, one, introspective to figure out, where I was in my life and what I was doing. And two, a lot more honest with everybody where I'm like, this is who I am right now and this is what's happening. So let's go.
Yeah.
It saw changes in relationships. It saw changes in expectations, changes in approaches. It all kind of like, over the last several months, it just got to a point where what is realistic to put in our toolkit to make sure that we're all doing okay or okay enough in our homes. And yeah, I think hopefully, because I know that as a species, we have short memories, but I'm hoping,
Yes.
right? So when this is
Yeah.
all done, I hope we learn some lessons from this and don't take things for granted. I hope that when I get to hang out with my groups of friends again, we could all embrace and have a really good time. And we don't let really like simple and petty stuff distract us from, just enjoying those moments we had, because we've now seen what it's like to be like all segregated off in our homes and all partitioned off. And I don't think collectively we want to get back to this. So I hope that if we do find a way to get past it, then we can spend more time together in quality ways rather than, doing things for doing things sake.
It's true. I agree with you on that. I feel like this moment has made a lot of people reflect, to look at their lives, for some people, you've gained maybe an extra 2 hours or 4 hours or something. And so they're looking at like some certain things that they used to be passionate about that they set aside and looking at it again. It's interesting you said like the sense of honesty. I do feel like I don't know for you both, but my circle of friends or family, I'm finding like there's a mask that's coming off with people.
Yeah.
There's much more a sense of honesty. I don't know if it's not being in person, it's making people more comfortable to let their guards down a little bit.
Well, I think there's less distractions, right? Like
Yeah.
one of the things I realized early on is that we would fill our schedule with so many things, whether it's social engagements or activities or whatever, that it distracts you from the truth of what your life's all about and what your family does and what matters to you. And once you forcefully tear all that away, you're like, what are we left with? What is the actual thing that's left over? And that's your truth, right? That's what we're left to figure out and deal with in the wake of it all. And it's uncomfortable. It's not something you want to face. It's not something you want to figure out. But when you have no other options, then you have to figure that out. And now, months in, I think we're at a point where it's like we are now comfortable with that to a degree, or we understand it at least a bit better. And I think, yeah, I don't think anyone's coming out of this unchanged. I hope that more people are aware, or self-aware or family aware, but we'll see. Like I said, short memories. I don't have so much confidence.
Do you find the same with you, Samantha, with your circle of family or friends or people you interact with, whether like online, that there's a mask that's kind of lowered or gone down, more honesty going around you that you're experiencing with people?
I like what you did there with the mask, the pun intended. I like that. I
I
think
do
that definitely.
that.
I see what you did there. Yeah, no, I think that that is very true. I think what Casey said, in terms of, it kind of strips things away. Like we have to be honest and real and raw with each other because, the facade is gone. I mean, we're all at home. We're Zooming, we're doing Skype and FaceTime and stuff. Everything's virtual. People are struggling with mental health challenges too because a lot of people are
Yeah.
isolated and they don't have family, or if they're not married, or they're older and their kids are not there. Like it's really really a difficult time, and I think that because it's a difficult time and people are living through this, I think they're a lot more vulnerable. So I think it's that vulnerability which facilitates that proverbial mask coming off and people being honest with each other and revealing their feelings. I mean, this is a very fraught time. I mean, I have elderly parents and we go to see them, but we stand outside the door, and I haven't hugged my parents in months, and it makes me really sad. And the same with the kids. They don't see, like, they see their grandparents, but they can't touch them. And it's just all of that stuff that makes you realize, back to your earlier question, like what's really important, what do we miss? It's kind of good to miss the things that we took for granted before, right? Because now it's been taken away and we realize we really want it back. So it's made things very real. It's made us all vulnerable, I think it's made most of us introspective, which is always a good thing, I think. It makes you reassess and reprioritize what's important to you, your values, all of that kind of stuff. So I think, out of this horrible thing in this virus, I think some very positive things have come out of it. So it's not all bad. I think we need to kind of take away some of the good stuff as opposed to just looking at all of the negative that comes out of it or has come out of it.
Yeah. And did you now some people are doing TikTok and some people have started hobbies, and what about, like, for both of you, anything new, anything that you've discovered, new talents, new things, like Samantha, you draw, like you share your drawing, which is pretty cool. Have you, like, has that, like,
it's
kind
funny. Yeah, it's my therapy actually. So I've always liked art. I've always drawn, and when I was in high school, I actually used to do a lot of painting and drawing. And my first love is oil painting, but I have a little tiny house, and people don't like the smell of like turpentine, so I can't do that, and I don't have an extra room. So I thought, okay, well, I could do pencil drawings because then I don't have like the smell of linseed oil and all that kind of stuff. So, I always liked that back when I was younger. And, when I was in my 20s and stuff, I did life drawing and all that kind of stuff. But, in recent times, like in the last, 20 years or so, it's been very sporadic and I haven't really done it, but I've always loved it. I've always had that artistic kind of desire to create stuff. So since we've been locked down and I'm at home a lot and my kids are driving me crazy, I kind of get my easel out and my paper and I say, everybody leave me alone. I get my glass of wine and I start drawing. So yeah, it's been very therapeutic. All joking aside, it's very therapeutic, I find. So it's not really a new hobby per se, but maybe it's more of a devotion or commitment and having the time to do it because I'm at home more. So I guess that's how it's manifested itself.
I always found that you could find you always knew who the oil painters and the film photographers were in high school, Sam, because you could put any smell in front of them and they'd be like, what is this? Like, this is
I love the smell. See, for me, I love the smell of linseed oil and the oil. I love it. I also love the smell of gasoline.
You do?
Yeah. When I go to the
She's
gas
such an oil
station,
painter.
yeah, I go to the gas station. I'm like, I love this smell. I know you're not supposed to like inhale it, but I love it.
So you're living like your best Bob Ross life.
Well, no, I'm not painting, but I actually went to the art supply store because I've been going there a lot lately, buying all these different pencils. But I went to the art supply store the other day and I bought some oil paints that are water based, or you could mix them with water. And I'm like, I've never seen this before. This is different from back in the Stone Ages when I was in high school and I used to oil paint. So I gotta try them. So maybe they won't smell up the house and maybe I can do something. But yes, I think it's really good to take up some kind of hobbies or do something while we're at home. A lot of people are baking, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do
that's
you do?
Not
true.
me. Not me. No baking over here. But I feel like I've taken on way more than I thought I would. Because I started off the pandemic with like, okay, here are like all these old writing ideas I want to shore up and things like that, which was a good start. And then it moved into like learning how to make maps online. And then it moved into,
Why are you learning
really
to make maps?
because I'm a huge nerd and I like,
You're a cartographer and a math pro and a writer and a broadcaster. Casey, you're putting us all in shame.
Yeah.
Every time I turn around and I go online, Casey's got something. Did you know he's also a very talented artist? Did you know this?
No, I didn't know.
Okay, check out his stuff. He does things. Do you do it on your iPad or something? Is that?
I do.
Because it looks like
Do you like draw? Like you
He's
draw?
really good. Like I saw some stuff. I'm like, what can this guy not do? What is going on?
He's a Renaissance
Casey,
man.
You're putting us
I
all
do
to
a lot
shame.
of stuff. I'm sorry.
He's the reincarnation of Michelangelo.
Yes.
No, I like keeping busy. I mean, the most recent thing for me is, now that I'm writing a book on Black fatherhood, which just got approved last week. Thank you.
Congratulations.
So that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work putting a book together. Like I think I don't underestimate it, but what has happened is that with the book announcement, it opened up all these doors simultaneously where it's just like, before it's like, Casey's that guy, he's fun, we like him, and he does stuff. And now it's like, Casey's writing a book. Like everyone, everyone get ready. And I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not there yet. So there's a lot of good stuff happening right now. And I think that over the course of the next year, you'll see a lot of these things I've been working on bit by bit come together. Like I'm, working on the cover. I'm working on like my, a lot of my facts and the stats analysis, putting it in a way that's actually attractive so it's not boring to read. And I'm hoping it all comes together into one nice tidy package. And then I will probably go sleep for a month.
And very cool too. You also created on your site, on your blog, a list of Canadian father blogs that people can discover, which is amazing because that's really hard to find.
Yeah, and there's more coming, more lists.
More lists, yes. Yes, for sure. Somebody wrote, we have to show ourselves self-compassion related to parenting during a pandemic. And then another person wrote about the mask. Now I have to wear mine sometimes below my nose when my asthma acts up. And it can depend on the mask and the environment. Oh, okay. All right.
It gets tricky. I mean, I understand there's physical limitations and things that come from that. So we have to always be aware of, the fact that some people aren't doing it intentionally. So there's a compassion element there for sure. It just, we're all figuring it out. I feel like there's that, anti-masker swagger that happens with some people, which is like, it's my right not to wear a mask. And those are the ones where I'm just like, no, you get no compassion. I got none.
Right. Right. Anything coming up anything that is coming up, like any projects, any cool posts that we should be looking out on your sites, both of you? And we'll end it on how are you going to plan Christmas during a pandemic? Starting with you, Samantha. Oh no, is she?
My regular stuff. So I do a monthly and sometimes bi-monthly segment on CJD 800 in Montreal, which is the equivalent is News Talk 1010 here in Toronto. So I do a parenting. I'll do that on Monday. I usually do a CTV News channel weekly segment, but we have been on an indefinite hiatus since the pandemic because nobody's going into the studio at Bell Media. Usually I would go into the one on Queen Street and do my hit from there. But we're just taking a bit of a break. I don't know. I haven't gotten a directive as to when we're going back, but I'm sure we will at some time. I'm working on my podcast. So I have a podcast called Parenting Then and Now. And it's been, again, with the pandemic, it's been a bit choppy. I haven't been as diligent about getting it together and having my, I was doing it weekly, but I'm getting back to that. So everybody subscribe if you can, Parenting Then and Now. And then I'm writing. I've written for a number of different publications. So I have an article that's coming out soon for Today's Parent. I'm writing for Chatelaine and some other publications, A Star, whatever. So yeah, keeping busy doing my thing. That's it.
What about you, Casey? Other than congratulations again on the book.
Thank you. What's up for me? I mean, so I went to a digital conference in the beginning of October called Dad2 Digital. And I talked to the CEO of Mediavine, which is a big ad company down in the States. And I got really, 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 really obsessed with getting my search engine optimization done. So a lot of the work I'm doing right now is just like, bolstering up everything. Like I have posts on my site that go back to like 2007. And I'm just kind of like taking all this stuff. I'm putting up new perspectives into things and just kind of like trying to. The problem I found was that the site I have is good and there's like so much content on it. But if you're looking for things that I think represent myself, whether it's being a Black dad, Black Canadian, whether it's being, all these different things, I don't show up for any of that when you search it. So I was like, I got to fix that. So I've been spending a lot of time just like putting all that meat into stuff so that it's a brand that's more reflective of myself. So I don't know how much new stuff there is coming yet. There is new stuff, I promise. But at the same time, there's a lot of old stuff that I'm polishing up to be like nice and new, which is actually a really good feeling because I don't want when you think about how much stuff is sitting around doing nothing, you never want that. So keep them busy.
Oh, good. That's good. Well, I feel really lazy next to you both. No, I'm kidding. No, that's awesome. Everyone, go check out Samantha and Casey's work. Listen to, again, the name of your podcast, Samantha?
Parenting Then and Now. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts.
You can catch. Yes. And
I had the wonderful Casey on the podcast before, so you got to listen to his episode about millennials.
It's a good one.
15? 1-5? Awesome.
Yeah, it's actually one of my highest listened to episodes with Casey because he rocked.
Thank you.
Go check out Samantha's website, multiplemayhemmama.com, and you can also visit Casey's website, caseypalmer.com. Both of you, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. And then eventually I am going to figure out how to turn these videos into a podcast as well.
Woo! Awesome.
So look out for that for the new year. Thank you so much. And again, everyone tune in next month. Not next month because next month is Christmas. That's the last Friday of the month. So I won't be on, but I will be on Friday, the new year, January 29th, 2021 at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then by then we'll find out who's going to be the next president of the United States by that time. I have to say it.
I'm glad we didn't get into that because I just can't. I don't have any words.
I don't either.
I really don't.
Oh, you know what? Okay, before you go, who do you think is going to be voted?
Who do I think or who do I want?
Who do you think is going to win?
Those are sadly two different answers.
Who do you think is going to still? Well, yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
I feel like there hasn't been enough of a strong opposition to unseat the horrible. Is it a better option? I mean, the VP is great. The VP ticket is amazing, but the president, I'm like, so I'm not confident, but I'm hoping that I'm proven wrong next week whenever this comes up. We're live, so yes, next week. Okay, cool.
Yeah, next week. Sam? What's your prediction? What's your prediction, Samantha?
Well, let me just say this. Let's see. assuming assuming that there was no meddling, voter suppression, throwing out of ballots, all those kind of things that we've been hearing about, I would assume that Joe Biden would win. Now, that being said, all those things are still in the mix, and they probably will be so on November 3rd. I don't think that there is going to be a definitive answer on November 4th. And I do think there's going to be a lot more civil unrest following November 3rd. I hope I'm completely wrong. But
that's pretty accurate.
I'm not holding out a lot of hope. As much as I would like things to change right now, I don't know. It's like what Casey said. I just kind of think, why is this person not unseated and taken out immediately? Like, I don't get it. But anyway, that's just me. What do I know? It's Canadian.
We will.
I don't understand. I asked my American friends and family, I'm like, this person is wholly inappropriate and unacceptable. Why can't you just take him out? Like, I don't care about your Senate and Congress and House of Representatives. Yeah. The guy's a maniac. Sorry, oops, I said my political views. Anyway, that's sorry. Shouldn't get political here.
Yeah.
sorry, Casey, I didn't mean to offend you.
No, not at all. No, this is amazing. I love it.
I love it
okay,
too.
I think he's a maniac, okay? That's what I think. I said it.
I think he's something else, but I'm not gonna go there.
Sorry.
It's a family show. No. Thank you again for being on the show. And
thank you.
Yes, we will definitely see and follow Black Canadian content creators. If you just go to Black Canadian CC, use the hashtag BCANCC, so that way you can share your latest content on Instagram and be happy to feature you. Again, both of you, thank you. Have a wonderful Halloween tomorrow.
You too. You too, both of you. Have a great time.
Peace.
Bye.